Hey there, cats and kittens. We're back. It's the Gun Cranks. Welcome to America's most dangerous gun talk show. I'm Guns Magazine editor Brent Wheat, and we have some special guests today. You've seen Erick Gelhaus. He's the editor of AmericanCop.com, and our special guest, Royina Huntington. Roy, your hormone treatments have really done well for you.
Yeah, they worked way faster than I thought they were going to.
Well, seriously, that's Ashley McGee. She is our digital content and marketing person here, director. What are you? You're the czar, whatever you're.
A little bit of everything. Digital content editor, marketing director, herding cats and getting you guys to give me some social media content, little bit of everything.
She's a slave driver. Anyway, the reason we picked this particular collection is we're all hunters. We like to go out and sit in trees for hours on end and watch birds. And so therefore, on our topic today of poaching, I thought, I'd don my deer decoy hat and we would talk about that. And Ashley, you kind of brought this up. Why is it so important or such a hot topic for you right now?
Well, just the other day, our South Carolina Game Warden's Facebook page shared a story about an investigation where they caught someone with 7 illegal doe. It led to capturing, I guess, a few other individuals that were involved. And keep in mind, a little bit of context, it is not doe season yet here until September 15th. So our deer season did start on August 15th, but only for antlered deer. So they were caught with 7 illegal antlerless deer. They ended up levying, I think it's $10,000 in fines. Hopefully, these guys lose their license and all of that. But it sparked quite the debate on social media, as, many things do these days.
Why is there any debate? Let me get my position out. Let me get my position out right in front of it. Poachers, I'll pull the trap on the spring on the lever when you get hung, okay? So I don't have any use for poachers. But so Ashley, why was this an issue? Why would anybody take the side of the poachers?
So I guess there are folks that aren't necessarily on the side of the poachers, but there are a lot of folks that believe that we do need to cull the herd more than we already do. The problem that I have with that is the game zone that I'm in South Carolina. We have 4 game zones in our state. It's already one of the most generous, if not the most generous in the country. So, it opens up on August 15th, runs all the way to January 1st. And depending on the game zone that you're in, that is, you can hunt crossbow, muzzle loader, rifle, my game zone, and the one next to us. You can even run dogs, which is a whole nother can of worms. Yeah, so, it's kind of unnecessary. I get they're overpopulated, but, they're pretty small here. So if we're ever going to get larger deer, I think we need some better limits and crack down on these guys that are harvesting them illegally.
Agreed. Well, let's go clear across the country. Erick, you're a hunter in California. Are you guys allowed to kill things there, or do you just have to, say, tag your it, and then that's a successful hunt?
Tag your it, and then cuddle them gently to the skinning shed. One of the problems we run into out here, in addition to folks that are straight up poaching, is we have the illegal marijuana grows, the guerrilla grows out in the woods, where they're taking water, they're dumping fertilizer and a bunch of garbage like that in the environment, but they're also out shooting deer, not necessarily poaching, but shooting deer to keep them out of the grows, which is cutting down on the population. And for us, our A zone, which is where I live, we opened up 2.5 weeks ago. And we'll close mid-late September. I can't remember the exact date. On the other side of the planet, a couple of hemispheres away, is the damage that poaching is doing to the animal life in Africa.
Yeah.
Which is a whole separate story, because people want to start equating legal hunting with poaching in terms of putting all these bans on imports of trophies and everything else, because they think that the poaching and the hunting are the same thing when they're not. So it's not only adversely impacting the animal population, it's adversely impacting the hunters that are putting all the money into the economy to keep the game populations up and going.
Yeah. Well, as a lifelong hunter, an avid deer hunter, here in my state of Indiana, where the deer are 500 pounds and look like elk, No, I've run into a lot of poachers here. I've argued with a lot of poachers. Here's my position on this is you guys have talked about, affecting the animal population, whether the population is greater than the capacity of the land to carry. I'll tell you what my experience has been with poachers. They're freaking criminals. Not a one of them's like, well, I think there's too many animals and I need to go out and cull the herd. Bullcrap. They're either thrill killers or they're just lazy. That's what they do. It's easier to go out at night with your spotlight and your rifle and shoot a deer from the road, and there you've got some meat. And the other thing they'll say is, well, I'm just feeding my family. In this day and age, I will say horse crap, because there's plenty of other legal ways you can get a job. Imagine that. Or if you can't get a job, there's plenty of social service agencies. You can't swing a dead cat around here without getting somebody offering you food or assistance. So poachers, I'm talking to you. There's probably one that's watching this. You're full of crap. You're a bunch of criminals. And if I could devise a punishment involving hot wire, fish hooks, and a chainsaw, I would do it. That's my opinion.
Well, and back to South Carolina, our bag limits are significantly, way more than what the average family could consume in a year. Even if you're stocking the freezer, it's just so unnecessary. And I mentioned running dogs. It's not something that I'm a fan of. I wish they would just ban that throughout the state. The upper part of the state, they're not allowed to run dogs. I wish that were the case here, but it's a lot of folks that are just going out and getting drunk, and dogs are running them up and they're just shooting everything that runs out in front of them. And I'm more of a traditionalist where I prefer still hunting. It's actually a little difficult to find a place around here where you can still hunt because so many people run dogs.
Wow. Crazy. Well, Eric, have you had poacher experiences out in California?
Not where I worked most of my career. I hunt on a ranch out here, so we pretty much kind of control the land when we're on it. It's what goes on the periphery and around it. Africa has been real interesting to see the counter poaching efforts, right? We're not really looking at counter poaching here domestically, but overseas they're doing a lot of work. Non-governmental organizations, hunting groups and stuff are coming in and working with the game scouts and stuff to do counter poaching over there to try to protect some of the endangered species or the near endangered species. A lot of it you see with rhinos and elephants.
See, I think that's a great idea. You talked about counter poaching. They're doing it over there. Sometimes it involves automatic weapons and explosives. Let's do that here. So let me pose this question. I've already said what I'd do to poachers. Ashley probably, I'm guessing she's a little more reasonable and she's going to be the voice of reason. Eric, what would you do to a poacher if there was no, laws or any of that stuff?
If there was no laws, they would just kind of disappear like the critters that they poached. There's plenty of rural property where I just ripped out the mic cord. There's plenty of.
You got very animated.
I did get animated. There's plenty of rural properties where things that could happen, right? Just follow the law. Hunt within the law. Stop being a crook. Because like you pointed out, Brett, the people that are doing this are probably, if not exclusively, violating the law in a whole lot of other ways. And like we saw with the marijuana grows, if they're growing illegally out in the wild, dumping the fertilizer and the chemicals and everything else, it's just a precursor to them shooting the animals when they're out of season, don't have tags.
Yep. Well, around here it's typically Cooter and Skeeter and Vern out in the pickup truck at midnight, and they're drinking Jack Daniels and probably got a little meth under the seat, and that is the typical poacher around here. And it makes me crazy because I've had that argument with folks. Well, it's just good working Americans trying to feed their families. No. Maybe in 1930, okay? Not today, not at all. So
I mean, how many of them are actually even using all of that meat, or they're just shooting to shoot?
Yeah. Well, I mean, you guys have probably all either seen or heard this or had it happen to me. You run across, oh my gosh, there's a deer, and then you get to look and something's not right. It's dead. Doesn't have any antlers. It's been cut off, or the head's been cut off. At that moment, I probably could shoot somebody accidentally, Hey, Skeeter, I almost called you Tom. Wow. Old habits die hard.
It's only a mustache. It's not a goatee.
Okay, there you go. But no, come on. Let me pry this out a little bit more. you would just have them disappear, but wouldn't you at least hang the carcass in a shed or something? Or come on, use your imagination there, guy.
Well, I wouldn't argue against doing poacher karkai like we do coyote karkai, right? Hang them on the fence.
There's an idea.
I wouldn't argue against that.
There's Cooter on the barbed wire fence. Poor little fella had his head cut off. Somebody must have hung it in their man cave. I don't know. Ashley, are you really sorry yet you've joined this episode of the Gun Cranks?
Not at all. I was going to say, I think you gave me far too much credit. Fortunately, here where I'm at, we have a lot of alligators and feral hogs. So, fortunately, those guys can do all the work for me and keep my hands clean of it.
I like the way you think. And you know what? All I could think was, that sounds like a Charlie Daniels song. We'll take him down to the woolly swamp.
Charlie Daniels meets unintended consequences.
There you go. Well, guys, any other thoughts on poachers aside from they're the scum of the earth? They're actually worse than telemarketers.
Oh, they're pretty even in my book.
I've never had a poacher call up, "Hi, this is Bill. I'm not trying to sell you anything." Yeah, sure, right. That's a whole nother topic for another show. But
anyway, maybe I've just gotten too many telemarketers lately that they're both kind of equally ruffling my feathers right now.
Well, kind of scares me the way you're talking now about if you invite me down there to South Carolina. Hey, do you want to? Can I show you the swamp? No, I'm not going to. Well, guys, again, thanks for joining me on this episode of Poachers on Gun Cranks. I'm not sure who the lineup will be next week or the next show. Oh, did I let it slip? I did. We're actually going to start doing this weekly. We've had a lot of requests, and we're going to ignore them. No, we've had a lot of requests that you would like to see this weekly, so we've beaten the assembled herd into submission, and we're going to be doing this every week from now on. So tell your family, tell your friends, tell your boss, tell your mom. The Gun Cranks will be every week. So it'll be a rotating cast of characters. We will definitely get Roy and Tom back probably next week and check all that out. So anyway, make sure you check out AmericanHandgunner.com, GunsMagazine.com,
AmericanCop.com.
Exactly, and all of our social media and the Guns Magazine podcast. I was going to say, though, American Cop, talk about that. People hear that and they think, oh, it's a cop thing. It's not necessarily a cop thing.
It's not exclusively law enforcement. It's more decent, normal human being and law enforcement overlap on skills, on equipment, on preparedness. The stuff that's going to post on Thursday morning, right, Thursday the 1st of September, is going to be on clearing stoppages and pistols, and an article from Steve Tarani talking about patterns and trying to keep from developing a pattern that folks can pick up and use against you. So neither of those are exclusively law enforcement, right? Everybody's got handguns and they're made by man so they can have stoppages. And we've all got to figure out how to navigate the world without making life easier for the bad guys.
Exactly. And Ashley, I would be remiss, talk a little bit about all our social media stuff that you are just tearing it up.
We are on Facebook and Instagram with all our different brands. So American Cop, American Handgunner, and Guns, and then also our sister publication, Shooting Industry. So you can follow us on there. We've been cranking out, thanks to Nick, lots more video than we've ever done before. So check it out and let us know what you want to see more of.
American Cop Magazine is starting a giveaway. It's going to run for the next 10 weeks. You can hit us up anywhere, Facebook, social media, on the AmericanCop.com website to register for those and sign up for those giveaways. We got some good stuff.
Good point. I wasn't sure if we were supposed to talk about it, but since you're the boss over there, excellent. And yes.
It's less embargoed than Springfield's new pistol.
Okay. Well, how about a little insider stuff there? Okay. Also, don't forget Guns DIY number 30. You can buy it at our websites or you can buy it at Amazon.com. And most of all, and most importantly, make sure you subscribe to the Gun Cranks and leave us a little comment down below what you'd like to see done to poachers. Maybe we'll do another show in a few weeks and get the best of reader comments. So anyway, on behalf of Erick Gelhaus and the lovely Ashley McGee, I'm Guns Magazine editor Brent Wheat. We will see you next time.